Wexner got some legal bills to pay. He liquidating the closet.
Listen, man. The L brands took a dip anyway. We might be on to something.
All right.
Well, you good over there?
I'm trying to be ready. Try to be.
Yeah.
Who's over there drinking a Mystic?
Lipton tea.
Lipton tea.
Old
Lipton tea. All right. Hold on. Let me square.
Oh, that's not L brands.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like you got an old strobe light.
All right, we cool. All right, here we go. Let me hit start. What's the word, everybody? It's your man, Mr. Al Pete from the mighty MPN.
Man, listen.
And you're now tuned in to the Clear Visions podcast. Get ready to enjoy the show.
Are we clear?
What's up? Sheesh. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Turkey Day. If you're watching this on Turkey Day. If not, happy gobble gobble until all the gobble is gone day. Hopefully everybody's doing good and great. Yeah, we are here with the Clear Visions show. Round of applause, stadium music. Okay, so exception on this, right? Because if y'all watch my Clear Visions show, I have to tell everybody that it's not a podcast because that's just the snob in me. But in this situation, we're going to put this on the audio platform. So you're going to listen to it on the podcast aspect, and then you're going to be able to watch it on the show. So stadium music, round of applause one more time for that test. All right. So this is a special edition. This is a Turkey Day edition, Neighborhood Feast. Shouts out to MPN Network, of course. Shouts out to the Ummah Creative Group. So speaking of the Ummah Creative Group, we have all the membership. Well, we're minus a member, but we have everybody else in the building. So starting with Dom, he's going to introduce himself, and then Krate, and then Shawn Smith.
Hey everybody, Dominic Lawson, multi-award winning podcaster, now turned drone artist, if you will. I guess I kind of call myself a digital storyteller now. So just happy to be here and just always grateful to be in fellowship with these fine gentlemen.
Indeed.
What up? I'm the Krate Digga 24/7, 365. You can catch me on KrateDigga.com. I'm a DJ, producer, instructor, and much, much more. But one thing I'm not is a podcaster.
Damn it, hold on.
Damn.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, man. I am Shawn Smith, founder of Drippin' in Black Productions. Again, it's always good to be with my peeps, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. And happy Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day for the people out there.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So stadium music, as we always give to my brothers, man. These are some good brothers, man. Individually and then collectively, we just a force out here in these streets. Some of us are in the podcasting streets. Per Krate, he's not in the podcasting streets, but his podcast is coming soon. All right, so like we said earlier,
y'all already know I've got like 2 or 3 treatments for him already. Just like, we already decided. We just gonna start recording them and just put them out as episodes.
Yep.
That's where we already got our plan. Never mind.
The plan is already in effect, and he don't have to realize it, but yeah, he'll realize it when he get nominated for an award. When he get nominated for an award, he can be like, "What the hell?"
I don't want to run through all your sound effects now, but this is really one of those. Who are these fools?
Who are these niggas? I cried laughing when I read. You know what I'm saying? like, we need to stay away from these niggas.
Fair enough. All right. So we're not gonna hold y'all too much longer. Real quick, please make sure you go follow the Ummah Creative Group on Instagram and see what we got going on. Make sure you follow it on YouTube as well because we have videos. Also, make sure you go to MPN Network, which you're already on watching now. But make sure you go to their Instagram and hit subscribe on that, man, and share with your folks. So, all right. So today's show, we're going to talk about principles and values. This conversation came up where I brought it up, and of course, I was being taped and not paying attention to the room that I was in when I said it, because Square perfectly said we need to be talking about this. So this got thrown into it on multiple occasions. So we're going to do the small version of this tonight or today when you're watching this. But please make sure that you tune in on December 6th to the Elevation Lab 3. Make sure you subscribe, sign up and all that. It's for the podcasters, creators. We welcome all the creators in the building. So we're going to be doing an extensive conversation about principles and values. Please make sure you check up under below to the notes where you can sign up for the Dripping in Black Elevation Lab 3. All right. So to my peoples, let's talk about principles and values. So let's just start off with what comes to mind when you think of principles and values? Do you feel like it's the same? Do you feel like it had different definitions? What do you envision that to be? And anybody can start.
Well, I'll say for me, because so much of my life, whether it be personal or professional, is under the umbrella or in the space of music. So a lot of my principles, values, those standards I have are across the board. For me, even though I've been in music, different spaces almost all my life, the standards that I had, the way I was raised, those are standards that for the most part carried over. So as I moved through different, professional or artistic, creative kind of pursuits, those standards based on how I was raised and how I'm expected to do the best, be my best, regardless of what the outcome is always give my best, be a man of my word, be disciplined, all those, and there's a lot more, but all those things aren't just about my creative pursuits. My creative pursuits, once again, are a lot of my life, but how I was raised as a person, my creative pursuits and how I operate in those spaces, it's just an extension of who I am as a person. Even though it's a great deal of my identity, I don't kind of operate my quote unquote real life in one way and my artistic life in a different way. That's for me.
All right.
I'll piggyback on that and say, the principles are really the foundations of my decision making, what I put out there. So that when I think about the principle, it's my framework. It's the reason why I do these things, and it's based upon these things. Those values do play a role in that. Because when we think about value, we some part, I would say a lot of my part came from the spiritual aspect of things and those things that I do value. But like I said, the principles is kind of the building block of what decisions I'm making and what I'm putting out there as far as either as an educator or as a podcast producer and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just add to that and just champion basically what Krate was and Square was saying. Like, your principles definitely are your foundation. They're your base. And you often want them to be in alignment with your values, because values change. I think, at least I know for me, and that's just from a standpoint of growing older, from experiences, they kind of often change how you see things, how you view the world, and things of that nature. But when it comes to those principles, being of service, being of helping hand, being disciplined, like Krate mentioned, those things are always kind of the standard, at least for me. But as those values tend to change and evolve, I try to I hope they often are still in alignment with those principles that come from, my parents, from, elders, from mentors, and all the things.
Gotcha. One point I wanted to add, for me, when I was in the therapy world, my therapist asked me, well, we were supposed to go over like my world views, and when he said it, I didn't understand what he was saying, but when I thought about it, I was like, oh, okay, he's generally talking about my principles and my values and stuff. So maybe he worded it a way that I just didn't understand it, but it triggered me when one of y'all said the views, like the views of the world and stuff like that. So good stuff, good stuff. How do your personal values influence the work you create or the projects you choose? I know we kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but we want to set some ground or whatever on that. So what helps you all with the projects that you work on currently, past, when it comes to the principles and values? Do you even include it in your process, or you just like, look, I'll just do this one time and then go for it?
I'll take a shot at this. It absolutely is definitely in alignment. When we talk about, my show Black is America and wanting to help people who look like us to feel affirmed and seeing that the story of America without us would be incomplete, and to highlight that through story, through facts, through history, through a different lens that is somewhat different from what we have learned when it comes to Black history. I often say that the Holy Trinity growing up when Black history was taught was Dr. King, Harriet Tubman, and Frederick Douglass. And so often with that, and this probably is more of a value, often, with that piece of it, trying to relay something different and provide a different lens, right? Which is why you have the different stories that we've shared on Black is America. And the same thing with Rewritten, and trying to be of service to get people to understand that stress and anxiety and depression is a real thing. And I'm glad you mentioned therapy, Pete, because there's too many in our community and beyond that feel like therapy is not a thing, or it shouldn't be a thing, or that you shouldn't seek out talking to somebody. So that is definitely influenced in my work, and it's often it is also written down. That's why Mental Health Rewritten has a show Bible, and those are some of the things to where if I feel like I'm off the road a little bit, off the cuff, then we refer to the Bible to make sure that we get back into alignment. So it very much informs the work that I do.
Yeah, along those lines, I am a Black artist unapologetically, but even within that, all of my art is not specifically like Black art, but it definitely comes from my experiences, my perspectives, and my Blackness does not leave my art. And also, once again, I'm very much of hip hop culture. So even when we talk about what I do as a DJ, regardless of the genre that I'm working, it's all done in the context of a traditional hip hop DJ. So like that's just one of my many value systems that is part of everything I do. It may not show up looking the same way every time, but it's always part of what I do. So whether it's how I present music, whether it's how I dress, whether it's how I speak, how I engage, how I, when I'm looking at a larger story, what I focus in on, or what I feel like this is the part that really has the intensity of the story, even though it may not be the most flashy or the loudest thing in the space. Sometimes being able to pinpoint what the thing is that holds the intensity and the real core of the story from my perspective, experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just, one or a few contexts when we talk about the value systems that align with my work. And also, once again, because as a professional, sometimes you got to do work that you may not like really want to do, but it's your job to do. For the most part, I've always been blessed to be able to not have to do work I don't want to do. But at the same time, knowing that even in my professional space, like I am blessed to be able to, for the most part, pick and choose the projects that I want to be a part of and not feel that I have to do things just for the sake of making money to pay these bills, et cetera, et cetera. So once again, that aligns with my value system of not just doing something solely for the buck, but also understanding, regardless of how big or small my name may appear or maybe not appear at all in work that I contribute to, how does that work that I'm part of reflect on me the same way that I'm always looking to reflect positively on the work that I'm part of. That's just another part of how I set, and approach my value system, specifically when it comes to what I do professionally.
Square, you got anything?
Yeah, just a little bit. The foundation of how Drippin' in Black even came about and what it was going to give to the world was based on the values. You could go from the ligature effect. That was a piece at the very beginning that we're going to link together and help support. I don't like to use the word help. Support each other, and this is even the UCG is a remnant of that philosophy. So even when it was building and was growing, those were the things that I kept in mind. We talked about Black excellence. That was the forefront. Dripping in Black is an attitude, and if you even go back to the first promo that we did, that was one of the first ones. So yes, as far as being an educator and wanting to be able to educate, that's where all of it stemmed from. The essence of what I do stems from those principles and values.
Now, first off, y'all answered a couple of questions that I had to that I was going to answer, which was cool. No problem with that. Two of the questions was talking about the alignment, like how do you align your principles and values with your brand, but all three of y'all explained it thoroughly. Krate more so, and I wanted to ask him this question about what was some non-negotiable principles that what are non-negotiables. Now we can talk about that if y'all would like to, but I know Krate spoke on it. I wouldn't say hint on it, but he did speak on it for sure.
Yeah, so as far as the non-negotiables, like one of them for me is when I do events for young people, like I don't play music with profanity. Like, and I've been in plenty of places where their parents or the adults or whatever be like, nah, we don't care. Like, that's cool. I care. So like, that's just one non-negotiable. I want to say I can't swear to it, but I generally don't do things that I don't want people to see me do. So like, for example, I was doing a wedding once and the wedding photographer wanted me to do like that stereotypical like fist pump and like I can be excited about the party, but I'm not going to do that because that's it's corny, but like, that's not who I am. So even within like doing things that are staged or kind of like set up for content, for creativity, et cetera, like there's still a level of honesty, truth, not necessarily originality, but just staying true to my brand that I don't leave, for better or for worse. So anytime people see me or hear me in whatever capacity, I want them to know that even if it's not like real life documentary type of kind of 100% real, even in creative aspects or offshoots of it, it still is going to have a certain standard. It's going to not be coonish or kind of, overly goofy in ways that is disrespectful to myself, friends, family, ancestors, etc. And it's not going to be something that my children or my grandchildren will see in 10, 15, 20 years and be like, damn, like dad sold out type of thing, or granddad was tripping. So like, that's just, kind of some general off the top of my head examples. But in the end, it's like, just certain things I'm okay. Like certain things don't move me so much that I'm willing to negotiate or jeopardize or give up on other things. And kind of integrity, like there's not enough money in the world to sell my integrity. That's just, like I said, just a few examples off the general point of it.
Mm-hmm. Dom, you had something?
Yeah, there's a couple non-negotiables for me as it relates to my work. One of them being that I won't just let any and everybody on my show. I think a lot of times, or shows, I often get pitches from people who are doing something in the mental health space, and they're psychologists, or they have a first person lived experience. And they say, hey, they will be great for rewritten, and they should be great to come on your show. They want to talk about their addiction and stuff like that. But I'm very adamant about the pre-planned direction each episode and season goes, or track goes. So if I'm doing a track focusing on suicide, somebody who's talking about addiction doesn't necessarily fit that space, right? Is often, I know all of us have had some version of people reaching out, say, hey, we want to collaborate, and you ain't listened to the original content, because had you listened to the original content, you knew that it wouldn't be a good fit. So there's that. Another one is, as the resident capitalist here at the UCG, that may be a bit shocking, but I am not a big fan of the dynamic ad insertion piece when it comes to my work. And if you're not familiar with that, this is where randomly an ad for somebody will just be dropped into your feed in order to, have monetization for said feed. And so I can count not one, but two particular networks that I had to say no to because they wanted to do that with my work. Because the thing is like, if you can find a place where there's a nice ending point of a segment and we could put an ad in there, that would be great. But also at the same time, what we're not about to do is me talking about mental health and weight loss. And then the next thing you know, an ad for the McRib just comes slapped right next to it. Right, that's bad for business. That's bad for the brand. And it totally goes against what I'm trying to create with my work. And the thing is like my work is usually, especially when it comes to rewritten, is pretty heavy when it comes to the subject matter. And so a lot of times those ads are very kind of upbeat. And while I don't want you to stay in that solemn place, there needs to be a transition back to that happy place, if you will, right? Not this hard juxtaposition, if you will. And I think as the creator of the content, it's my responsibility to bring you back to that place, and not with an ad trying to sell Lucky Charms or something like that. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that work, comes to my work, those are negotiables that are has definitely left money on the table, but definitely something that I'm super proud of, because the integrity of the work is too important to just be monetized in any kind of way.
Gotcha. Square, I'm coming for you on this particular question, but all of us, we have our individual projects that we work on outside of the Ummah Creative Group. And I'm sure, in the near future, we'll get to situations where things will be a little bit more swifter, or for lack of a better phrase, easier when it comes to the work process. But to zero in on ourselves, and I'm shooting this to Square, when it comes to being under pressure, how do you deal with that and still keep the principles and values intact when you're dealing with a deadline that you're facing, or something that even that can be time sensitive. Like I remember one interview that we did. The young lady, she had a festival the next week, and you wanted to make sure that her episode came out, in a decent time. So even on that tip, like how do you deal with that pressure and still be able to hold up your principles and or values with that?
Well, one of the things, like I say, if I'm talking about keeping my word, that's a value that I'm going to definitely keep. So I'm working around that. Now, one of the things I have done, if it's not a time crunch or stuff like that, I don't really have a time crunch because I can bag up and do stuff all the way I want it to. But again, integrity says that if I'm saying that I want to have something out every Tuesday, I'm going to have something out every Tuesday. But I do give myself grace. We're always talking about grace. I definitely learned how to give Shawn Smith some grace. so that plays a role. Another thing, my candles, got to relax while I'm down here. So I've learned how to, and not to, if a Dripping in Black episode don't come out, the world is not going to end. And if it's the difference between my health or my mother's health and things like that, because some people know that I am a caregiver, so sometimes it's not a Shawn thing; it's a mama thing. So, I just try to keep that y'all make it hard. Now y'all Negroes make it hard, but I just kind of just breathe in, breathe out. Don't put myself under undue stress. So, and it's just, it's that grace factor that I would give myself. If I just can't do it, I just can't do it. Now back 5 years ago, I might be up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get an episode out by 7 o'clock and things like that. But I've given myself grace, but I also learned how to work better as well, so that I don't put myself in those situations.
Right. Cool. Well, I got one more question, and then after that, we'll wrap things up because we're coming close to the 30-minute mark. Again, this is the Clear Vision Show with the brothers of the Ummah Creative Group, Dominic Lawson, my man Krate Digga, and Shawn Smith, aka S Square. So, roundtable action. What 3 values best describe your creative or entrepreneur mission? If you can give me three values that best describe you and your work, your brand, what would be those 3? And real quick, again, I want to promote the Elevation Lab 3 will be December 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please make sure you sign up for it. We're going to be doing an extensive conversation about principles and values. And just to throw it in there, I do feel like principles and values definitely play a role in the work that we do and the work that you should be doing, because it would definitely save a lot of time, save a lot of lives, and just save a lot of BS from coming around you. So, all right. Whoever want to go to first, 3 values.
I'll go. First value, perfection. I am a perfectionist who knows I will never be perfect. So I'm always still seeking as close to perfection as possible. And my definition of perfection does not always mean without error, but really just the highest standard that I can achieve. And that standard does fluctuate. 10 years ago, I had a more limited ability to create video content, but I still did it to the best of my ability and kept the highest standards possible. Then as I've grown and learned more and been able to incorporate different levels of equipment, that standard has grown. So it's not about being without fault or without mistake, but just the highest standard that I can achieve. So one is that perfectionism. 2 is, I want to say creativity, but that's not it. It's not enough for me to just be creative. I have to really push the boundaries, and not like for the sake of being shocking or like being extra, but to really remind people that as humans, there is a level of, or a capacity we have to do things that have never been done before or have rarely been done, or just find ways to make things ourselves. That's one thing I always tell people is like, as an individual, nobody can be a better you than you. So for me, my creativity is housed in not just exemplifying the things that make me me, but not being afraid to be creative, not being afraid to go a bit beyond and try things, whether it's being a little tapping into my, my goofier side at times, or tapping into other aspects of just finite detail and pulling out little details and magnifying those to be able to show like the ability to kind of get into this thing at this micro level is a skill set that allows me to then blossom other creative aspects or perspectives. So perfection, creativity. The last really has to just be honesty. Dom kind of touched on it, squared as well. Like regardless of where I am personally, like what my mental space is, emotional space, where I'm physically at in the world, all those things, even though I may not speak to them like right on the head, on the nose, I am never creating in spaces where, or creating things that aren't honest, that aren't of me. That may not mean that I'm always in a good mood when I do a mix, or I'm always in a lovey-dovey mood when I do a slow jam show. But the honesty of what I'm presenting has to be there, or I'm just pressing buttons and doing the thing, as opposed to finding ways to tap into the emotions, the energies, and all those things of what I'm presenting. Because in the end, if I'm not doing that, my opinion is I'm not offering people an experience that they can't get somewhere else, which makes me expendable. So creativity, that honesty, and of course, that pursuit of perfection.
Dope words. Squirrel, what you got?
Oh man, that's hard. I will go with the excellence, all things in excellence. I'm not a perfectionist, but it needs to be done to the best of my abilities. I agree with Krate on that one, but I'm not going to do it. I've given myself grace to get off the perfectionist, but it's going to be in excellence. And also, grow, change, and develop in all things. Grow, change, and develop in all things. I learned from you all, which it goes back to reciprocity, which is one of mine as well. If I learn from you all, I need to be teaching stuff and as well, or giving a perspective as well. And be a blessing, man. I'm about support. I'm about, the ligature effect, bringing things together and being stronger together. And to be a blessing, everybody want to be blessed, but be a blessing. That's something that you can control and let the chip fall where they may. And those are the values that I hold dear. Definitely, that reciprocity and education, growth and development and all that other stuff. So yeah.
Gotcha. Don, what you got?
The first one that comes to mind, me and you, we talked about this in Baltimore, is being consistently good. Because specifically in this space of podcasting, that word gets thrown around, be consistent. But being consistent is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, you can be consistent and drop an episode once a month. That's consistent. You can be consistent and drop an episode once every 2 months. If you're doing it every 2 months, that's still consistent. But I like to focus on being consistently good, that when you hear an episode of Black is America, when you hear an episode of Rewritten, when you hear an episode of The B Word, that same level of consistency and creativity and being of the highest standard is going to be there. So that first one is being consistently good. The second one is just always growing as a storyteller. I recently put a post out there that I'm no longer a podcaster. I'm just a storyteller and just trying to find different mediums in order to either tell the same stories or tell different stories. That's why I got into the the kind of the UAS drone type of thing to try to tell stories visually in that space as well. So just constantly continuing to get better. And last but not least, one thing my mentor, Crystal Hill, always tells me, don't suck. Don't suck and don't immerse yourself in mediocrity. And so over the past year, I've had to excuse myself from certain groups and certain certain groups and certain communities because they did not serve in what I was trying to do. They did not match my energy, my resume, or my time, and all the things that I put into the craft that I love to do. And so when you have that situation, you kind of have to remove yourself from said situation. So those are my things. Don't suck, be consistently good, and always keep growing as a creative.
Indeed. They got some good stuff. I might be biased by saying this, but all of them exhibit that and more in their work, individually and collectively. So if you go look at their works individually and collectively, you can definitely see the principles and values shining like crazy in it. And before we go, I'll just throw out kind of like my three. One,
Dylan.
And listen, Dom, I heard you mention that you weren't a podcaster no more. I guess you sharing space with Krate on this too, huh?
Y'all know what it is.
Man.
A little bit.
You get tired of people having green walls in your videos and microphone stands all across your face. Come all over to the non-podcaster side.
Who are these niggas?
Listen, Pete, I would think you would appreciate that because I would think you would appreciate that based on previous conversations. That like, listen, I'm more than just that. Like, I can tell a story visually. I can tell a story auditorially. I can tell a story in different ways. And so I think it's just the evolution of me as a creative, right? Like, I still podcast, but I'm more than a podcaster. So
right.
That ain't what you said, man. That ain't what you said. But we got.
Don't let him press you. Don't let him press you.
Lord,
tell him. It said it's called the B word, not the P word. Let him tell him to get it right.
Well, listen, real quick, like I said, for me, thankful, gratitude, that type of thing, that's a value that I hold hard for myself, being thankful for the things that support me, et cetera, et cetera. I always be original. So that would go into like the authentic category or whatever, but I always pride on being original. I know nothing's newer under the sun, but I know when I present myself, I still want to have a distinctiveness about it. And, I don't even know about this third one, but, being neighborly of community or whatever the case may be, whatever that looks like. But I just really value that part and make sure I push that as much as possible. So, but I'll get more into mine when we have our Elevation Lab 3 on December 6th. So please come check it out and make sure you sign up. What is it? My apologies on not knowing it off bat. Is it DIBK Productions?
DIBKproductions.com/elevation.
Yeah.
Come and interact with us. Don't just come look at us. Just come and interact with us.
Absolutely.
Al is the facilitator. Oh, you saw the video. You saw my video for Thanksgiving. If you haven't, it's in there. Al is facilitating.
Indeed. All right. Well, I am not going to hold these brothers up much longer because they got stuff to do. But I definitely appreciate them taking the time to be on the podcast show. This would not be the last time on it because at some point I need to start bringing guests on my show. So we can have some fun and really talk about some things. So round of applause. Stadium music for my brothers. My brothers, before you get out of here, real quick, let them know where they can find you at. We'll start off with Krate, the non-podcaster, 24/7, 365.
Live from Clear Visions. It's Krate Digga, 24/7, 365. on kratedigga.com, KrateDigga.com. We got music, we got videos, we got tutorials, got a documentary, we got the merch spot where you can get mugs and much more. But yeah, check me out online. Yeah, man, just come through, KrateDigga.com.
Indeed. Don, what you got?
Follow me on Instagram, The Real Dominic Lawson, where I talk about podcasting and stuff like that. But also my new Instagram feed, The Pod Pilot. If you like sunsets and visuals of night skylines, follow The Pod Pilot. And also just on LinkedIn.
That. I ain't know about that one.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Yeah, it's right there with your app, Pete. Yeah, but follow
unknown.
I couldn't help it. But yeah, follow The Pod Pilot on Instagram if you like skylines and visuals of sunsets and sunrises and stuff like that. But also on LinkedIn, Dominic Lawson.
Indeed. Shawn Smith, let them know.
All things Dripping in Black. Hit drippinginblack.com. You could get DIBK Productions up there as well. On social media is at DIBK20 on all things. And for our brother, they didn't tell you this, because, sometimes you have to be, I ain't opened it up yet, but this is for our brother Ty and all the missing ones.
Indeed. I got mine today. That thing.
I spread sunshine to these Negroes, even though I'll be asking who's these niggas. But yes, we go. For our brother Ty, we go. I should have put it out earlier. Just let it sit there for my brother Ty. But yes,
yes, spritz that thing. Hit it with a little water or something. rub it or something.
Well, we got to
how you buy him a raisin with a logo on it? What are you gonna do with that?
What are you talking about, man? What is he talking about, man? But anyway, he got his. And you notice that there's actually two different colors too. You got paid
black and white.
Definitely. Oh yeah, shout out to Ty Hicks, man. Couldn't be on the show, but definitely is here with us in spirit. And definitely check his work out. His work will be on the shuffles or whatnot. So, but anyway, Clear Vision Show. We are done. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the duration of everything. Whoop. Arguing with me is pointless. I knew I was wrong 10 minutes ago. I'm just trying to make you mad now.
That's pretty much him.
I like that. That's a silent villain in me that's like, yes. So, but nevertheless, check out the rest of the shows. Hopefully you enjoy it. Subscribe to all the things, man. I am Mr. Al Pete from the mighty MPN Network. Be good to yourselves and be good to others, all right? Signing off to the top.
Peace.
Clear Visions podcast was produced and engineered by myself, along with the intro and outro music. Subscribe to this podcast that's available on MrAlPete.com, MPN-LLC.com, and on all podcast platforms. Thanks for listening, everyone. Building but becoming to the top.